This is Archbishop William Laurie of Baltimore, and you are listening to Catholic Review Radio. Catholic Review Radio is a weekly radio program and podcast hosted by Catholic Review Media, the news operation of the Archdiocese of Baltimore. We are grateful to our Catholic partners for the opportunity to bring quality Catholic programming to our listeners each week.
Welcome to Catholic Review Radio. Our guest today is Dr. Kevin J. Cummings, who is also a deacon. He was ordained as a deacon in June 2011 at the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception in the Diocese of Kansas City, St. Joseph, but he's currently assigned to the Archdiocese of Kansas City in Kansas. He's concentrated much of his efforts in the ministry of Respect Life issues, alongside two other nonprofits of which he's a part. He co-founded Deacons of Hope with the aim of organizing ministries of deacons into a community of deacons who emphasize pro-life initiatives. This was spun out of a desire to serve homeless mothers in need, with an emphasis on those under the care of pregnancy resource centers. Welcome to the show, Deacon Kevin.
Well, thank you for having me. I enjoy being here.
Great. So how did you get inspired, first of all, to be involved in pro-life ministry, and then kind of narrow that focus to homeless women?
Well, quite often when we begin our ministry, once we're ordained, we have a lot of leeway as to what particular avenue we're going to take to help the most vulnerable. And I kind of floated around for a little bit when I first started. I was in prison ministry, and I did some work with the elderly, and also my sacramental life or my spiritual life within the church. But after a few years, I had come to the conclusion I'm not really doing what I wanted to do when I finished the ordination process. And so I decided I would hook up with another deacon that I felt was in my class and felt the same way. And he absolutely was. And we decided we need to help women, particularly women that have to choose an abortion, attend Planned Parenthood. And as we found out, many of them had multiple abortions.
Right.
And so we went to the CEOs of pregnancy resource centers, which are about 13 in the greater metropolitan Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas area. And we asked them, what is it that makes a woman decide to have an abortion? But more importantly, what is it that keeps you from saying to a woman, you're telling them all of your support and that you can provide food and diapers and hospitality and such. But what makes them go to the Planned Parenthood and go ahead and have an abortion after leaving here? And they go, without a doubt, it's the same thing. Homelessness. In other words, these mothers that are homeless, they fall through the cracks.
Right.
And when they do, this isn't the first time. And it's the fastest solution. And they go there and they absolutely know what they're going to get. And because of that, we decided then you need residence for these mothers. You need somewhere they can go if they find themselves in a homeless situation, unemployed, unmarried, and they're having a child, or maybe they have another child, but they're living out of their car.
Right.
And we decided we are going to need to provide residential housing.
Are there some shelters, Catholic Charities or other kinds of shelters around that will serve women with children or women who are pregnant? Usually
not, Chris, and it's because of the liability associated with it. The pregnant mother, the liability of them being at your facility and maybe not being adequately treated for a risky pregnancy or something like that. Maybe you don't always know their medical history, you see, and what they've had in the past in the way of treatment and or care. And so when we started, we went to our bishops. I went to the Bishop of Kansas City, Missouri Diocese, and I went to the Archbishop in the KCK Diocese because he was one of the most pro-life archbishops in the United States and or in the history of the USCCB. His name is Archbishop Joseph Naumann. Very, very outspoken. And we talked to both of them, and both of them said, you have a good idea. You have a very good idea. But we don't have housing for women okay, much less pregnant women who have other children because of the liability. The liability would blow you out of the water. And so we didn't meet with much luck, but they both did say, hey, if you get this on the ground and the rubber meets the road, give us a call back, you see?
And so you did.
Yeah, we did. We went to individual donors. We wrote letters to, former college alumnus and high school alumnus, and we got some backers who actually stepped forward and helped us open our first building, which was a 19-bedroom convent that had been left 4 years ago on 14 acres of property. And it was the perfect fit for a psychologist that we hired to be our CEO. And he said, this is the perfect area to help women because they can get outside, they can garden, they can use all their senses. And in doing so, these women usually suffer from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, because they're living out of their car with a child or pregnant. And we treat that, and we treat quite a few other hosts of sometimes mental disorders, because that's what often leads to this family being broken down and having no one else to rely on, you see.
So did that fill up pretty quickly?
At first it didn't. And we were thinking, well, maybe they don't need it. But actually what it was they were used to the pregnancy resource model as being a non-residential, a facility. And until these facilities understood, we have a system here that really works for mothers. It's different than the others because there are some other resident homes in the United States, but they don't really have the capacity to treat the psychology,
right,
of these women and what they're going through. And because of that, a lot of times they come and go. There's a lot of failure. The policies aren't intact. So we wanted a comprehensive one. Myself and the other deacons said, hey, if we couldn't send our daughter there, it isn't acceptable.
right.
So we really, we invested a lot of money into it. Again, got the psychological milieu in so that we could treat these women and get them to a better place, and also open up to them up to 2 years that they could remain at our facility. We provided education and training at the facility, got them back into college, and we monitored them daily, just like you would anyone else that was receiving treatment. And then we started word of mouth. All these pregnancy resource centers started referring to us. And so did everyone else around us in the, even in the rural area. And so, no, we're filled completely now, and we've opened another one in Kansas. We have a facility in Missouri and one in Kansas now.
That's great. When you look at this, I assume that women can go to a pregnancy center and they can get the kinds of things you're talking about. They can get tests and they can get diapers and all those kinds of things. Do you provide all that kind of prenatal care at these homes and as well as the postnatal care?
Yes, we do. We provide all the prenatal care and the postnatal care because we found out that the majority of these women that do want to keep their infant, they decide, I don't want another abortion, or I'd like to raise my child, or I'd like to give my child up for adoption. Now we're opening a facility that is for mothers who only want to give their children to adoption. And we're working in partnership with Catholic Charities. So we're working on their main campus, and we're sharing some of the social work and the client management and the psychological needs, plus the placement needs for homes and for jobs and such. So it's worked out pretty well. It's kind of a pilot because we've only been doing this for 4 years now.
Yeah, and I just noticed that the Diocese of Phoenix recently blessed a residence for women who are homeless and who are pregnant.
Yes,
and so it sounds like that kind of thing is perhaps growing and expanding.
It's catching on, and because the Deacons of Hope, the organization that I recommend, really started this from the ground floor, which means parish involvement, volunteers, funding. We spoke at multiple churches in this area, told them what we were doing, and we got parishes that would join the Deacons of Hope in this same address to these women. And so they come out there. We have over 800 volunteers at our home on the farm nobody else knows where it's located except those that come out and volunteer. But we also have college and high school, even grade school students come out and volunteer and see that there's another alternative to just having an abortion or going to a Planned Parenthood. More importantly, we're trying to change a culture, trying to change a generation that sees, no, it's important to try and save these infants.
And save their mothers at the same time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is something that we've gone in full scale with the Deacons of Hope, and we're trying to present it to other dioceses so that they see the formula that we're using and the support as an infrastructure to getting these residents started in the proper fashion and policies, you see, and then to expand. And we have about 5 other agencies that work with us. We've opened 2 pregnancy resource centers, one on a college campus, which is a rarity. Because when you go to the college nurse, you might get a pamphlet to Planned Parenthood, but you don't normally have a facility that's a pregnancy resource center, you see.
Right.
This should be on more campuses.
Yeah.
And the Deacons of Hope, we're the infrastructure that supports this and gets it starting, because most of us had jobs as businessmen or what. I was a dentist. Another guy, he was a broker that I worked with. So we understand how to get a business started and to fund it and to keep it going. And that's why the Deacons of Hope are so important.
That's great. Where can people find out more about these ministries?
Absolutely. If they go to our website, which is real simple, deaconsofhope.org, or to the first home we open, it's called St. Mary's Home for Mothers.org. Okay?
All right.
St. Mary's Home for Mothers. Either one, Chris.
That sounds great. Well, we have been talking today with Deacon Kevin Cummings of the Archdiocese of Kansas City in Kansas, and he has been talking about their work helping homeless pregnant women, which is a great niche ministry to be in. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. God bless.
This is Chris Gunty, and you're listening to Catholic Review Radio.